Do we have a serious problem with hunger in this country? The United Nations says the answer to that is yes. It sent a special investigator to regions right across Canada. And what he reported today, speaking within earshot of Parliament Hill no less, has outraged the government. The CBC's Laurie Graham has this story for us tonight from Ottawa. Laurie.
Those comments from the government didn't deter the UN Special Envoy, Peter. He said he wouldn't mince words, and he didn't.
And today we have a large number of Canadians who are unacceptably too poor to feed themselves decently.
For decades, the alarm has been sounded about First Nations not having proper access to healthy food. The UN Special Envoy for Food Security acknowledged that as a serious problem, but said they're not alone.
We have in this country more than 800,000 households who are considered food insecure, representing between 2 and 3 million individuals, and that we have close to 900,000 people depending on food banks.
During his 11-day tour, DeShooter also visited half a dozen cities. He came armed with statistics, saw the problem firsthand, and still, the government refused to accept his conclusions.
It would be our hope that the contributions we make to the United Nations are used to help starving people in developing countries, not to give lectures to wealthy and developed countries like Canada. And I think this is a discredit to the United Nations.
But he was actually here on the invitation of the government. He met with a number of people who depend on food banks to feed their families.
Food is almost non-existent. My monthly income from 3 jobs is just under $2,000 a month. That's my take home, what I can use towards taking care of my kids.
The only grocery store on our nation here.
Part of the report was devoted to the food crisis in First Nations communities.
I am struck by the desperate situation in which many find themselves. Often, huge communities depend for 85% of their members on social assistance in order not to fall in food insecurity.
Canada's health minister took offense to that.
I don't know how he can make a conclusion. He's not even set foot in my region. Again, I say, he's another academic who is studying our way of life from afar.
He may not have visited a Glucaks community in Nunavut, but he did meet with northern leaders and spent time in a number of First Nations communities where people confirmed they don't have adequate access to healthy food.
Our land is being developed by industry, so the habitat for the animals that we hunt and fish and trap is being encroached on, and animals are moving out, and the land where we pick berries is being developed.
DeShooter says he'll take his findings and prepare a report which he'll eventually present to the UN Human Rights Council. Peter?
Laurie, did he recommend anything that we haven't heard before?
Not really, Peter. DeShooter wants a national food strategy, which many groups have been calling for. But perhaps what is new is the international attention the issue is attracting, which the government clearly does not welcome.
All right, Laurie, thanks very much. Laurie Graham in Ottawa tonight.